Well, good evening and good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition. I think this is episode 15 of our virtual study group here at Pure Officiating. We have made it to December. It is December 1st, so there is 1 month left in the fun that is 2020. And so, while we've had, it seems like lately, a lot of slew of canceled or postponed games, we did have a lot of action last week, a lot of good things to talk about, and hopefully you all have been taking advantage of the games that are on and honing your craft from the comfort of your own living room. And so tonight we have our usual cast of characters, myself, Corey Luxner, Daniel Young, Tuta Salam, and the one and only Brandon Cruz. I don't know where his travels are taking him this year, but he may be back up in South Dakota. So with that, let's get us started, and I will turn it over to Brandon for tonight's first plays.
All right, thank you. Hey, man, I'm in Rapid City, South Dakota. Where else would you rather be? That's a rhetorical question. That's Thank you. Thanks for your input on that. That's a rhetorical question. Okay, here we go. This is going to be a different session, guys. I think this is going to be a really different session, don't you think? But talk about process of working plays and breaking down your own video, okay? So this is a nothing play, incomplete pass in the red zone. Watch what we're doing here. So we're going to loop these a little bit. We're going to have some illustrations. Okay, where's the back judge looking? We're on the end line in the red zone. We're looking out at the ball flying kind of near our right shoulder. And there's players. I think you guys will agree as after we get through these illustrations, like the better opportunity here to make an impact on the game is to watch players. And so it's so easy to get distracted. And so our theme tonight's going to be, we don't just want to watch the football in certain situations. There's some situations we do, but we're going to put up a lot of situations where we don't. And I think we can all really get consistent and maybe have some personal examples that we look back on that is familiar to this, So like you see this back judge here, Daniel, and again, nothing play, snapped at the 9, it's 3rd and goal. You're almost like breathing a sigh of relief. Nothing happens here. Absolutely nothing. Going to 4th down, we're going to kick a field goal. But if we just in the habit of watching the ball on this play, I think we get put at risk on certain other play situations that we might not want to find ourselves in.
I think tonight we're gonna talk about a lot of different principles that build towards this one really, really important principle, and that is, like we've talked about so many times, what we're watching and when we're watching it. That's really the essence of good officiating, right? Like if we're looking in the right place at the right time, we're going to be really, really successful. So the first, I think, great point that you just made that we want to drive home on this play is that, man, if we can't be visually disciplined, and I think that's a phrase that's really important tonight, if we can't be visually disciplined on these plays, then we're going to be really, really in a bad spot whenever something does happen. So we talk about mechanics and why it's so important that we're mechanically consistent, because it's about building habits and building muscle memory so that when number 8 or number 23 decides to drive up into that receiver's chin, we've built a habit of watching players and not following the ball because we've done it every time when this happens. And you don't want to go too far into this right now, but you make a great point. It's very easy to get distracted and watch that ball fly by. But these are the plays where we're going to develop habits that are going to allow us to make those really, really significant calls that we all see officials make and miss throughout the course of the season.
That's right. So we have a lot of these examples tonight, and we're going to talk different play types, and we'll give everybody an opportunity to chime in, including the chat. We're going to have a lot of chat interaction here in a second. Let's go to play number 2.
Wait, Brandon.
What do you got? You got something?
Yeah, go back.
I didn't think you have anything.
No, well, I like to. I have my mute on. Unfortunately, I'm still.
It's all good.
How to work
it's all good. I'm gonna start telestrating again as you talk. Okay.
Okay, fine. I was just thinking about. I love to play devil's advocate, and I also love to give people the benefit of the doubt. What would the back judge? Maybe he's looking for something there. So, and then when we start thinking about it like that, so now we start thinking about from an awareness standpoint. Well, it's not possible that the ball could be caught by another player, right? Because if I know where I'm standing beyond the end line. I am pretty much out of bounds. So if I'm looking behind me, there's no way a person could catch the ball and have it have any impact on the play. So really, I'm trying to think of, okay, why would I be looking there? You know, if I'm the back judge on this play, and yeah, I can't figure out why I would be, but we're going to look at a bunch of other plays, and maybe there is a reason why people are looking at the ball.
That's right.
And I just kind of wanted to start with that.
And I'd like to echo Dan's sentiment in the chat that certainly our back judge here is in a probably ideal position. There's been other people that worked it other than me, you know, but we get caught looking at the football here sailing. And we just have to be honest with ourselves that we could be looking at backside action. We could be looking at whatever, you know. The fact is, we're looking at the football here. We're just looking at the football, and I'm sorry. It's just sometimes we just have to be brutally honest with ourselves. And if we're not able to look at this play, and if I'm in the position of the back judge, and if I'm not able to say, "Geez, I'm looking at the football on this play," because I could put up another angle on this play that would literally show. I mean, this angle doesn't even show it as well. Top, but I could put up another angle that literally shows the eyes following the football from about the goal line on in, you know, and we just know that that's not optimal, and we just want to get better off that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's the takeaway, I think, as we move into play two is that, you know, listen, we've all done this at one play or another, unfortunately. We just want to build those good habits because what are we officiating? And I think that's the question we ask ourselves, because you're right, Chuta, maybe there's some kind of logic there, but here's the question we're going to have to answer every play is, what are we officiating?
That's right.
We're watching that ball fly by. The answer is nothing.
Hey, Daniel, can you answer Karina's question? She was talking about the positioning. Maybe talk about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the question is, should we move a little bit more towards the hash? When the field gets really compressed like that, I'm really comfortable being right at the goalpost just because I know I have to cover inline, end to end. And oftentimes they'll isolate their best receiver over here down in the numbers and try to throw him to the deep corner. But, you know, I think what you need to do is be in a position to see what you need to see. So if you're more comfortable taking a step over there, then that's okay. But I think just as a general idea, we're really, really probably prefer right there under the goalpost, but a step or two either way wouldn't hurt. And I've seen instances where we have twins over there and we've got a pick threat where we need to adjust a little bit to get where we need to be to see what we need to see. That's always the baseline, right? Is just being in position to officiate what we need to officiate.
Mm-hmm. This ain't an easy play either, by the way. I mean, I don't know if people noticed the bunch.
No. Whenever you have bunches down there at the goal line, I'm already like, this sucks.
All right. So a lot of times, and I noticed myself doing something, he may have inadvertently started looking at the ball because he maybe was thinking, "Damn, did I look at the right player here?" Because I mean, my initial key, who was coming in motion, then we had a bunch. We let him declare. Well, I thought I was going to have this dude, but now this other dude came over here, and now it's like, oh my God, what just happened? And now he's just looking at the ball just because, well, you know, I know my brain is all scrambled. Let me just do something that's real easy. I'll look at the ball.
That's what it is. I think that's what it is. That's a great segue. Let's go to play two. So now we're in the middle of the field as this loads up and spins and starts to play. Here we go. We're more in the middle of the field, still in plus territory, trips to right. Classic, you know, crossing pattern, drag underneath. Now watch, we got a couple officials here. We can talk about mechanics of each, and we can talk about mechanics of those that are not in the screen. But look, you know, threat to that guy that tips the ball. And look at our line judge's eyes. Clearly, our line judge is reacting to the ball in space after the tip, you know, and so is our umpire. Okay. And so we get a chance to talk about this. And now look, our line judge kind of squats down and our umpire is completely focused on the ball as it hits the ground out here, you know, just inside the 15-yard line. The question would be, who's looking back here at what is nothing, but could this be targeting? This is an obvious targeting alert. Look, the defender does a great job. Just because players do a great job like this doesn't mean we don't have to officiate the action. So the defender we're talking about is this guy coming in right here inside the 30. and he does pull off, and it's great. We just got to ask ourselves as a crew, who is watching this, So, that's kind of the end of the great diagrams there. But as we let the play loop and continue, what do we know? Like Corey, from let's say you're working, either deep wing position, quite frankly, you see a ball get tipped like this and still flutter in the middle of the field. What are you thinking here? Just
when you see something tipped that early and then travel so much further, my eyes are going to try to find, okay, who's going to be in the position as a deep wing, who's going to be in a position to catch that. So I'm going to be looking for players in that area where I think the ball is going to end up. And so obviously you're going to have, you don't want to, hopefully not have laser focus on a ball traveling in air, but instead finding the players where that ball may come down and try to identify that, because, initially you see that ball released and you go, to that action around the receiver, but then you see it tip and it resets everything in an instant. And so we have to find a way, all right, where should my vision go to next? And, it takes discipline, as Daniel kind of alluded to earlier, that to get off of watching that ball fluttering in space and find some players to look at. So that's where I was, either as a field judge or side judge in this play.
Cool. Great. Let me address the umpire. I think our umpires are so used to spinning on passes over the middle that they're going to see this, and then that ball kind of redirects into the air more. We're probably going to support the umpire spinning here. But we just need to discuss as a crew, and I don't know how prudent it is, to say one position or the other should be officiating what could potentially be targeting here, but maybe just more locally as a crew, could we discuss this and decide, just, is it more, the pass is going away, the pass is going towards line of scrimmage, deep, maybe just agree crew by crew, or do you think we should go more of a standardized approach to this?
I don't like a standardized approach, but I'm kind of an outlier. I never like standardized anything because we're not robots, so it's really hard to standardize everything. And we see plays that develop in so many different ways. There is no standard play, so we just have to take it as it comes. But I want to disagree with you a little bit on this one. I don't like the umpire turning because.
You don't?
Honestly, no, because he's in perfect position to rule on that contact. And really, when they turn to spin, that we want them to see those really hard, quick, low passes that are going that could potentially be trapped on a pass like this. Man, I can't. The three deeps, all we do, that's the whole, our 90% of our job is watching catch or no catch. So if the three deeps can't handle this ball that's getting tipped up into the air, man, I don't know. I would love to work with some other deep person.
Keep going.
They can't work that,
Keep going. I know. I'll keep telestrating here, but just so we can stop. I just think that I hear what you're saying. I do feel like, and we'll get Daniel's perspective, I feel like the three deeps are probably going to go eyes to the ball here after this.
Absolutely.
So I hear what you're saying. I do also.
And a lot of scrimmage too.
Sure.
They need to work that contact.
The umpires get slammed for not spinning on passes that go over their head and potential, inside traps, like you mentioned. So it's really interesting, Daniel. Where are you at on this in terms of, I think the back judge is probably going to stay with the football, but who would you ask to help us out here at the question mark?
Well, I think you guys made the point that we don't use the language belt anymore. That's just not really a thing.
No, we really don't.
And for good reason. But this is really an area of responsibility where the short wing could be watching. And here's why we need to be watching this, because we don't really need anybody watching 17 run in space. I mean, you talk about a well-designed play. Holy crap. If they need 4 or 5 yards, this is really well-designed because this guy is on an island. But what we need to do is feel the threat from the defender picking up this route as he comes across the middle. And I think there's a couple of guys who could potentially see that. I really think about the short wing it's coming to would have a great feel for that defender in his peripheral. Yes. I think the offside deep wing also, he's got his guy up there at the top, but I think he's got he gets run off pretty far. That's going to be tough for him. I think even as a back judge, listen, I agree that it's going to be really, really hard when that ball goes in the air to not go with it for the deeps, because, we do want to officiate the catch, no catch, but I'd really, really prefer as the back judge in the middle to be able to just stay with him, just to, I don't know, have a sense that that defender's coming downhill and there's the potential for something ugly. But I agree with you that the impulse to follow the ball there in the air, or at least like Corey said, find who's going to be in a position to catch it, is going to be really, really strong. I think I wanted to weigh in on the umpire too, because I think that's a really interesting point, because I agree that this is not a great place for him to spin, but we talked about habits, consistent mechanics, and it's probably just really hard for him in that moment to fight that, because that's what we want him to do, because I have fussed at many umpire about not turning in time when I needed help on a low pass over the middle. So I get both sides of that argument. We really would rather him not turn here, but it's really understandable. Man, you watch this and you think this is out in the open in front of God and everybody, and you start breaking it down. And guys, there is the potential, if we're not doing this as a crew, there is the potential for us to miss a really big targeting right in the middle of the field.
Big time.
Really good play.
Let's say he doesn't hit him in the head. He just blows him up in the, chest. Right. Now we have a in game of instant replay, we have a non-reviewable situation we got to make a decision with, and we're at risk potentially, if we're just watching the football, to completely miss this. And then that incites ill will and all these game control types of things that Corey's really good at discussing and bringing to the crew. It's just interesting. And I address Tyler's question, really good question. You think whoever is covering this should stay? Whoever is covering this, I think he means from
whoever's covering the action on the catch, the initial catch, no catch. But I'm not sure we know who that is.
But you mean like key perspective? Maybe he'll whoever's key this is maybe should stay until players are free from foul. And again, we got players running. We got a switch potentially involved here. Man. Yeah, so that's why I like what you said, Tuta, earlier, which was it's very difficult to prescribe this from a standardized perspective.
Yes.
Wow.
But I think I love what Daniel said, though. I mean, the action coming directly at the line of scrimmage official, I would really prefer that line of scrimmage official to stay watching the contact instead of watching the ball 70 yards downfield. I really would prefer, and I honestly would prefer the umpire not to turn just because the ball is tipped up into the air. It's not like one of those low trajectory type of passes. But like Daniel said, that's really easy to say, really harder to implement.
Well, and what else is easy to say is this. We want to put this on both the headline judge and the line judge. Okay, great. But guess what? If that ball stays up in the air and then it's really tight to trapping the ball for an interception or whatever, and they come in with this great cell call, slamming the ground, and they just look fantastic doing it, they're going to get thousands of times over praise for being able to see that, right?
Right.
Meanwhile, the guy got his head taken off in the belt area that we don't even talk about anymore. So, I mean, it's just we always play the result in this business. And I think what we're talking about here tonight is not necessarily let's do this. Let's like prescriptively do X,
right.
But more, let's just be aware of how dangerous it is to say, this is what we always need to do, or I'm going to reward this. I know you do. And I do too. And I think we've kind of grown together in that. It's like, let's just avoid being so prescriptive and standardized, because plays happen differently. And when we miss, I guess it's more of like when we actually miss stuff, we need to really go deep and figure out why, instead of just saying, well, I missed it, or, oh, great call. But what could have happened if we, you know what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I think we need to bank here too, for all of us who could potentially see this play in the future, is part of what scares me a little bit about this is if we're officiating really, really well from a visual mechanics perspective, there is nobody watching 17 drag across the middle with no one within 15 yards of him. We're just not. Somebody has the sense of him and he's on our radar, but we do not need to be locked on that guy running across the middle. So we're going to shift really quickly once the ball is in the air, and then the ball is going to careen off his hands. So you think about the discipline from shifting to wherever your primary focus is, then to the ball thrown to 17, and then not to follow the ball again, but to stay with him.
Yeah.
That's really challenging. I think that's really good action for us to kind of study and think about and bank how we're going to respond to that on the field.
And we're going to talk about some empty mechanics later. And we just want to make sure the actions we're doing on the field as officials have a purpose. And it's not that the tip signal, see a little discussion on the tip signal. It's not that we, don't want that, but it's not that we need that the millisecond the ball is touched either. You see what I'm saying? We can always come back and rule that the ball was tipped.
Absolutely.
But what we don't want to do is put ourselves at risk of occupying the space in our brain from a processing standpoint, just to give what is really, if you think about it, a very meaningless tip signal. I mean, we can always rule that like 3 seconds later instead of the second the ball is tipped. I know that's probably a very unpopular opinion, but we're gonna go down an even more unpopular route here in a couple plays. Before I do that, let's go to this play. Yeah, I'd like to do that. You know how I am. So here we go. We are going to talk. So we've gone in the passing game. We're still in the passing game, and we're still talking about watching the football. And maybe you've already seen this on a certain highlight show last night, but they stole this from us, honestly. They stole this.
That's right.
Yeah. Watch this. I would call this the domino play. So we're basically going to have a contact at the first arrow and then into contact at the second arrow. And how do we get this right? And look, I don't even care about the call, but we're picking on poor umpires. Don't tell us you don't have any umpire training on this platform. Because here we go. And we're just going to be able to really pick this apart a little bit. Watch as this starts to develop. I can just feel myself in this poor umpire's shoes. Okay. Our head's down. Look at our head. It's down. And why is our head down? Because now our head is to the side and we're wondering what's happening with the football. Meanwhile, number 73 in the gold jersey slaughters the poor guy in the white jersey just standing there. I think that's number 59. And he goes directly into this other player in the yellow jersey. And then we get our vision over to him. So, oh, man, I just feel so bad for this umpire. And you can even see right there, watch it. Watch his head. This is what you want to do when you're breaking down your own video and what we need to do more of, all of us. He's looking over this way to his right because the ball fluttered that way on the ground. And he just didn't see that initial contact by number 73 in the yellow jersey. And so we can look at this and say, oh, my gosh, Tuta, how could he possibly mistake this for a UNR by number 59 in the white jersey? How could he miss that? How could he possibly miss that? And what would be better for us to do is actually learn from what he did with his eyes. And look, I don't even think this is really the whole responsibility of the umpire to nail this call anyway, but I can understand why he called this on number 59 in the white jersey instead of number 73 in the gold jersey, who, if we all saw this in real time, especially on this video platform, we would all agree this foul is on number 73 in the yellow jersey.
Yeah, I think from a crew perspective, I don't fault the umpire at all. And people may think that I'm crazy to say that. Now, from an individual self-evaluative perspective, the umpire has a lot to learn on a play like this. But from a crew perspective, man, he really called what he saw, to be perfectly honest. He saw a blatant foul by the white player hitting the gold player. That's pretty obvious, But what's not obvious is what happened before the white player hit the gold player. And that's where, from a crew perspective, we need to really look and see, okay, who else could really help on this? But from a self-evaluative perspective, like you're saying, okay, why did I not see the whole thing?
Yep. We're watching the ball on the ground. We simply are watching the football on the ground. And look, that's not 100% wrong, but that's the whole point of our session. That's the theme. So Corey, you're working downfield, whatever position it is, top, bottom of the screen. How do you feel like when you see this all 22 shot with whatever threats are going on? I mean, this is dead ball officiating, my man.
100%. And I know we had this discussion kind of in our production meeting, but as a deep wing, I would, especially if I'm a deep wing at the top, I think I'd want to have an opinion on this, because it's when the play is over like this and you see only one player still moving, your eyes are going to naturally want to gravitate there. And I think, especially as a deep wing or even as a back judge in this case, you have a nice wide angle. There's nothing really going on that would prevent you from getting there to, obviously, you wouldn't maybe not make the call, but see enough to go in there and be that person that says, hey, did you see what 73 did to 59 first? And just, start that process. And as we've seen here, this umpire did not see that. And, unless he had an eyeball in his ear, there's no way he's going to see that. And,
Exactly.
one of the biggest mistakes we make in officiating is making judgments without seeing the whole action. And I know I've done it. I think we've all done it at some point in our career, that we kind of guess on incomplete information. But as a deep wing, I think that this would come into the vision enough, because it would stand out. It's the only player still moving, and you'd have some type of an idea.
I just think if there's anything we can take away from this, and I hope it's coming through the platform or whatever, the audio, whatever you want to call it, I hope it's coming through our empathy for this umpire right now, because we can all understand what happened to him. He's so close to this, he gets distracted by this football. But if it's coming through, if you have space as your friend and the ball is on the ground, try to watch players. I mean, Daniel, and how do we practice that? This isn't really going to happen, I don't think, in a scrimmage, maybe, but often not, because they're not going full speed. And certainly there's nobody looking to murder their own teammate like this. So any tips for improvement on this kind of action, which I know we've been talking about?
I think the first thing that is just a really reliable axiom for us as officials that we use, and I know how much we love officiating cliches here in Pure Officiating Universe, but Corey said it, we do need to work on training our eyes, both from a film perspective and just anytime we're watching football, to see who has the brick, right? And there's the cliche, because the guy who's moving is the guy who is a threat to foul. That's all that means, right? Is because so much of what we talk about all the time, is prioritizing and identifying threats. The guy who's moving is the guy who's going to do something he's not supposed to. So I think Corey just really made probably just the best point for us, I think, in terms of just getting our eyes accustomed to officiating this action. And while we may never see that action in a scrimmage, let me tell you that we will see balls squirt through the middle of the field a million times at scrimmages. Every time I'm at a scrimmage, I'm like, man, this team sucks. I don't know what that is.
You're evaluating their talent.
The scrimmage and think man, these guys are so good. I feel like that rarely happens. Anyways, we're going to see this all the time. So here's how you train yourself. You ask yourself every play, where am I looking, right? Because if we get to the point where this happens in a game and we catch ourselves looking at the ball, and immediately after we say, oh, crap, I followed the ball, guys, that means we're making progress, right? If we're doing this and then we're going back and watching our film and we're not realizing it on the field, then we've got a little bit further to go. And so maybe it starts in the film room watching your plays. But I think the scrimmage field is a great time for us to go out there and actively think about, okay, today I really want to focus on watching players in the dead ball action and be very disciplined, right? So we may not see this exact action, but we're going to see a ton of incomplete passes. We're going to see a ton of opportunities to watch a guy run out of bounds with the ball in his hands when he's 5 yards out of bounds, and we're still watching him over there, and that's not our area of responsibility. So I think we can use scrimmages. I think film, we know, is a great teacher for us, but I think this is one of those areas we can get really good at in practice snaps.
Yeah, great point. All right, guys, anything else on this, very challenging play? Obviously, empathy for the umpire, maybe not so much empathy for the other position officials who could have helped my man out avoid this.
Yeah, Brandon, I had a play like this 2 years ago.
Can I say something first too, Tom?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
So just can't agree more. The umpire, man, such a tough position. But here, and we talked about his personal growth by not watching the ball careen over here on the sideline. What if, because there's another official down on this play, what if, because the umpire doesn't do that, he comes in and says, no, you got that wrong. 73 pushed 59 into him. We got to pick this up. Holy cow. That's a great officiating opportunity for him. So anyways, that's all, Tuta. Sorry, man.
No, I was just going to air my dirty laundry. I mean, I was.
Oh, yeah, please do that.
Yeah,
always enjoy that.
2 years ago, punt play. I'm trailing. Obviously, I used to be a side judge. Went over to the dark side this year. But, punt play, I'm trailing the returner. He went out of bounds. And all of a sudden, boom! I just see a dude just destroy another dude in the back right into the bench area. Of course, my flag comes flying, right? I'm so tunnel vision on the returner. What I didn't see was almost exact action like this. Somebody pushed the dude who pushed the other kid into the bench area, and I called the foul on the wrong person, exactly like this. And I looked at that play, and I'm like, golly, man, how could I miss that? What in the world? And basically what it was, I realized I was tunnel vision on a runner just running out of bounds on his own. I can get the spot. Maybe I missed it by 2 yards. Okay, it was a 20-something yard punt return. Okay, maybe I missed the spot by 2 yards. But golly, man, keep your head up and watch the action as it's flowing towards the sideline instead of watching this runner run by himself out of bounds. And that was something I learned on the play, almost exactly like this.
Yeah. There it is. Dirty laundry.
Yeah, I know y'all like that.
Yeah, we do.
I enjoy it.
We really do. All right. So this has been a lot in the passing game. Let's go to action in the backfield. This is going to be another kind of interesting play, maybe not totally non-unique. Double negative. Quarterback gets wrapped up, is going to fling the ball forward into the chest of an offensive lineman. All right, so referee position, this could be center judge. This could be umpire in the backfield. I think we want umpire in the backfield looking at action on the quarterback. So referee, you're going to rule on quarterback pass fumble, okay? So now that we understand how the ball, comes out of his hand, we want to avoid what the referee did is basically looking right into this lineman because why? Look at that. There's some serious contact in the head neck area of the quarterback. So this is really interesting one to practice on, and we'll loop this over and over. And anytime you want plays, just let us know. But as referees, we really want to make the ruling on pass fumble. Okay, but we have to finish the contact to the quarterback and not let our focus get distracted by what's going on with the football. And the reason is we know that there's other people on the field that are basically going to rule on what else is going on with the football, Mm-hmm. So this would be one for us referees, center judges, umpires in the backfield just to try to practice with. We got another play coming up to show something similar, but the more important contact is that contact to the quarterback's helmet that luckily for the referee here was more incidental than anything. And it really isn't a foul, but nonetheless, if you don't see that, if you don't see that contact, you have no chance to make a ruling on the contact. So instead of just watching the football bounce off this big lineman's chest, it would be a much better, approach to try to stay focused on whatever happens to the quarterback's head in this situation.
And obviously it's way easier said than done because
Sure.
A ball gets thrown, our natural tendency, I don't care what position you work, the natural tendency is to want to know what happened to that ball, especially if it's getting thrown like this in a weird situation. It's not just a normal pass. Obviously, if you're a referee and a quarterback just throws a normal pass, you don't really care where the ball goes. But in a situation like this, man, your natural tendency is like, oh, whoa, what happened with that ball? And, like you're saying, you may miss contact on the quarterback, which there's only two people who's going to really be in position to rule on that, you and the center judge / umpire who's back there.
Yep. And we know this. We know that whenever the ball basically leaves the quarterback's hand, we have to know what it is, from the backfield as a referee.
Yes.
Is it a pass or is it a fumble? If it's a pass, great. We pretty much can let that go. We're going to have there's no umpire in the world that's watching contact to the quarterback. And if you
Hopefully.
unless you're in the backfield, unless you're an umpire in the backfield, but an umpire in the traditional position, hopefully, you're not watching contact to the quarterback. Please don't, by the way, because we don't really want your feedback on that, to be honest with you. We're very used to ruling on that, and you're very used to ruling on what you rule on. So illegal touching from that standpoint, if this guy were to try to catch this and bat it or whatever, that would be in the jurisdiction of the umpire and the line of scrimmage officials. It's so much more important for the referee and center judge to stay focused on what fortunately turned out to be, not a foul to this quarterback, but which really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's a foul or not, because there was no chance the referee saw this based on watching the football into the chest of this lineman. What else on this play? I mean, look, this turns into intentional grounding, which was a good crew effort to piece together that there's no eligibles in the area and all that. But that's not exactly what we're talking about. Anything else on this play?
I think if I'm a referee, Brandon, what I would take, I love what you said. The takeaway for me, because obviously I have a total of 9 games experience back there. But what you said is we have to know what it is. Is it a pass or is it a fumble? And the next statement is the one that was really impressive and really was impactful to me. If it's a pass, it doesn't matter where the ball goes because someone else is working that. You need to continue to work the other action. Just it's a pass, got it. Now continue working the action on the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good question from Brett. If this were to be RPS or targeting or RPS with targeting, which it could be, would you make it a live ball or dead ball foul? And I think we're just used to making those, especially with this quick, it would be a live ball foul.
Yes.
But that's a good question. And then something about batting. Yeah, you can't. It was ruled an incomplete forward pass, so that the batting is nothing. If it was a fumble, that would be batting. Lots of talk about batting. What am I missing about the batting? I mean, I guess what if that was ruled a fumble, right? Then we would have illegal batting in the end zone.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or a fumble with anything like I don't know, from downfield or perimeter officials' perspective on these plays. How do you even know what's going on? By the way, I always kind of wondered that because we have all this stuff going on in the backfield. We don't tell you guys anything, obviously. So how do you know what's going on?
Yeah, no, we don't, I think is the short. But I have a question I think that's relevant to what you're trying to say. We've seen, in fact, we saw one last weekend. We've seen these weird circumstances where the ball comes out maybe like this, maybe not exactly like this, but something like this. And let's say it doesn't hit 70. It continues to sail and hits the ground. And this, I think we can all agree, this is really weird flight pattern. This is weird ball movement. There is no way in the world as a downfield official do we want to blow this dead as an incomplete pass. Let's say it 70's not there. The ball's just flying down the field. And there's nothing about that looks like an incomplete pass, but you as the referee are really, focused on processing that contact. And we've seen where, those unfortunately don't get blown dead and defense picks it up and runs 90 yards. And, oh, by the way, it's a really clear and obvious incomplete pass, but just nobody's very comfortable in that scenario. How do you process both of those things as a referee? Because you may look up and see him running. You don't know if he caught it. You don't know if somebody else caught it and then he was hit and then we're really catch fumble. How do we piece all that together, do you think? Put you on the spot there.
No, it's good. We have to do exactly what we started this play with is we got to understand that we're ruling forward pass. we're ruling forward pass, and then we're finishing the contact to the quarterback, because that's our primary responsibility. If somebody comes back and says, well, hey, that ball skipped on the ground 3 or 4 times and then somebody picked it up and ran with it, then I would just say, oh, okay, great. That's fine. I didn't know that, but it was an incomplete pass. So no issues. By the way, did you have an eligible receiver in the area? Because he dumped that after contact, so we would want to put that all together. If it was number 75 for the offense or whatever it is, running with the football because it sailed over this lineman's head and then got caught by somebody else, well, I mean, then we would just put this, did you have a fumble or did you have a pass? Well, then is it 4th down? Okay, all that stuff, right? We would piece that all together. Yeah. And I think what you're getting at is, look, everybody work your responsibility, and, we want to officiate the whole play within its context, but first we want to take care of our responsibility before we do that, so that's what I would offer on that.
I think that's absolutely right. Officiate your area of the responsibility. And then if we get in an awkward situation, we know as a crew who's officiating which aspect, and we just got to come together and get it right. Like you said, hey, did you have a forward pass here? Because he scooped up the ball and he's still running. I think he just crossed the goal line. Oh, yeah, forward pass. Okay, well, it's incomplete. No big deal. Not the cleanest look in the world, but it's reasonable that could happen and really not be anybody's fault. Certainly not ideal, but potentially could happen.
Well, slightly big deal. We need to make sure that clock is right, because if it's under a minute in the second quarter or fourth quarter,
that's a huge deal.
Then we lost 7 seconds and a team doesn't have any timeouts left.
How do you gauge that though? You don't have replay. How do you gauge that?
I would probably just estimate. I would just say, you know what, that was about 5 seconds. We need to put 5 seconds back on the clock.
Yes, and that's what we always used to do before we got these silly O2O devices.
Right, and then we start all of a sudden. Now we act like we can't do simple. We can't just figure out anything without replay. Oh, zebra. What's the clock, zebra? Well, man, just figure it out. Jeez.
I feel like we should retire. We should retire zebra.
Yeah, I do.
I don't know, Corey. Anything else? You're coming in maybe to help out on this. What would you offer, if anything? Corey might be having.
I think
Corey's having some audio issues.
Technical issues over there.
It's all good. I thought we had that fixed. That's all right.
He's having a blizzard over there in Westminster, probably.
Oh, really?
No, I'm bullshit. I'm BSing. Sorry, I almost said a bad word.
Yeah.
Can take the guy out of Louisiana.
But now, same field, different game. Same kind of scenario-ish. But check this out. So we're going to have rush end around the hang on. Did it pause on your end?
Yes.
It did.
It's all good. I'm sure we can figure this out. So we're back to this issue again? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens here.
Let's keep it moving.
It's like you don't complain about the office in public. You don't complain about the platform in public.
That's right.
So pretty similar to the last play, maybe.
It's playing, Brandon. It's
okay,
playing.
Good. Rush end around the left side of the offense. So left tackle gets burned. Right defensive end, good play. Like right defensive end wins the play. But now we got to stunt up the middle. So this is going to be interesting. And look, the ball's on the ground. The ball's on the ground. The quarterback gets nailed in the head. This is much more forcible contact than the last play. So perhaps lucky on the last play that we didn't see that. Maybe not so lucky on this play. And then it pauses, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. No worries. Okay, let's just go to the screen share. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm about to say just illustrated, Brandon, on the screen share.
It's fine. I'm sure this is playing well for the audience too. Okay. Sometimes the videos don't cooperate, if you haven't noticed. Let's see.
Could be operator error as well.
Highly unlikely.
Fortunately, the content is made up for it tonight.
Oh, you think?
Oh, yeah. This is awesome.
It means a lot.
Oh, well, hey, we can answer Seth's question while Brandon sits there and stumbles through how to turn on the doggone video. So Seth was asking about The quarterback throwing the ball, how much leniency do we give the quarterback for intentional grounding? Well, and Michael kind of gave a statement there. Basically, here's the deal, Seth. If the quarterback starts his throwing motion prior to being contacted, then whatever happens with the ball, we don't necessarily pin it on the quarterback. If the quarterback gets contacted and then starts his throwing motion, it is 100% incumbent upon him to follow all of the rules associated with the intentional grounding principles, whether it be throwing a pass in the area of an eligible receiver or getting the ball beyond the line of scrimmage if he so happens to be outside of the pocket. So it's when the contact occurs and when the quarterback's throwing motion begins.
It's like you're a referee or something.
I'm not, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
God, it's a terrible joke.
Right.
So bad. All right.
Not. He just plays one on TV. But
Equally.
no,
Okay. So
that's pretty good.
hold on. Well explained. Well explained. So, and I think we saw that in the last play. So now on this play, we're not even talking about pass. He is starting his throwing motion, but is his hand coming forward with control of the football? No. He really gets stripped. And then this is like double action back in the back. You got double action near the goal line or line to gain for you guys. Corey's an expert on that, Daniel. This is our double action. We got one piece of contact on the football. Then we're ruling fumble, and I tell you too, Ty, we get really proud of ourselves when we rule fumble like this. Oh man, I nailed this call. Don't you think? Like maybe you haven't had these yet, but we get really proud of ourselves.
That was unnecessary.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes you don't happen very often.
Well, have you?
Have you?
I have.
Okay,
yes,
good.
I have.
Good.
I don't believe it.
The problem is both of us are looking at the ball. I mean, both of us are really looking at the football here, just floating around on this great-looking Oklahoma State logo. And we totally missed the contact to the quarterback's helmet. And anybody can make the judge, be the judge on that. Is it targeting? Is it roughing the passer? We talked about the umpire. Please don't tell us because we don't really want your opinion on that. I mean, maybe this is the one where maybe we would, since none of us are watching this. But let's look at this angle, and this is going to be more descriptive, I think, because again we see completely beat around the left, and we strip the ball, and then boom, this guy stunts inside, free shot to the quarterback's head. It's kind of we call that a dip and a rip. So right at the last second, he dips his helmet into the quarterback's helmet. And we can tell by this video. This is how you want to get to analyze your video when you get a chance to look at it, with these angles. We're both looking at the football right here. We are both clearly looking at the football. And we know that the referee is struggling. Maybe struggling is not the right word, but he's efforting to find his beanbag. We don't need a beanbag here. We don't need a beanbag this millisecond with the football on the ground. It's like what we just talked about with the tip signal. It takes away from our ability to process other actions. All right? So what we're trying to do is get rid of these archaic, mechanics. And why? Because they're empty. What are we going to gain by throwing a beanbag on this play?
Literally nothing, because what is the beanbag does is it marks the spot where possession was lost, and the reason we mark the spot where possession was lost because we may need to use it to enforce a penalty. Right. Well, what do we know about fouls in the offensive backfield? Most fouls in the offensive backfield.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, the beanbag is useless.
The only way it could come into play is on fourth down fumble rule. Just toss your beanbag.
Come on, man. Yeah,
that's not.
Now, of course, hold on, Brandon, because I want to backpedal a little bit. We are looking at this as we're sitting on our couch at home. It's Sunday afternoon. We're drinking a beer, and now we're all laughing at this dude saying, "Man, how in the world could you miss this? Why is he? Well, look at this. He's watching the ball. This is so. He's awful." Believe me, when when you get in the game, we've all done stuff like this. So everybody, please don't think that we're just piling on the referee, piling on the center judge. These are really tough plays.
You know what I like about this too is it's not just words on a screen like somebody's getting creative on a test question. These are real plays that happen.
Real life scenarios, baby.
I don't care that it's in on this stadium with these teams, this happens. I mean, have you ever seen a rush end beat the tackle on a pass play with the quarterback in the pocket? Yeah, at every single level of football. Yep. And then have you ever seen a twist from the other side of the defense and they get pressure up the middle? Yeah, at every single level of football. This can easily happen tomorrow in any single game. And it just is, when I saw this play, I talked with the referee about it. I said, I've been waiting for this play to happen. And then I had a similar play like we just saw, and I butchered it. But anyways, I butchered it visually. So, these are the plays we want to see happen so that we can really test ourselves and our vision, But just from a process standpoint, we have to, just like last play, we have to make the ruling pass fumble. And then we just have to keep our focus on what we would be doing as if the quarterback released the ball downfield and we weren't following the pass downfield like we do 99% of the time. Well, like we don't do 99% of the time, right? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's funny. We had one of our mentors, all of us on this call. This had to be 5 years ago. And this is really just to talk about meaningless mechanics or empty mechanics, like you're talking about with grabbing the beanbag here. We had a pass play that was on the opposite side of the hash from where I was. And the ball hit the ground, clear and obvious. It was a nothing play, literally nothing play. And I signaled incomplete. And he ripped me a new one. He said, why are you signaling incomplete? This shows that you're not focusing on blah, blah, blah. You need to be focusing on here. And you're sitting here giving an incomplete signal. You're thinking about giving an incomplete signal instead of finishing out the play and focusing on other. And I was sitting there and I got so mad. I'm like, what is this man talking about? Like, is he out of his mind? It's an incomplete signal. You don't have to use any brain cells to do that. But it's true. We're actually, why am I giving an incomplete signal from 70 yards away when it's a ball that's clear and obvious that it's incomplete? I should probably be doing something else. And I think that's something that, kind of like what you're talking here on this play. Why do we need a beanbag? Let's actually work the rest of the action.
I remember that.
I did too.
Yeah, I know. You probably loved it too.
I did. Well, I think I was a part of it, unfortunately. You know what I really enjoy is Tuta's passion for beanbag mechanics. As soon as you went to the beanbag, I was like, yeah, buddy. I loved it. I think it's awesome.
Well, but unfortunately, we will have, if you want to call them observers, evaluators, whatever their title is, they rip us for not throwing beanbags, right? Like it's almost like we're just looking for that beanbag because that's something we can attach our evaluation to.
Right.
And we just want to make sure, yes, we need beanbags on fumbles. Don't get us wrong. We're not saying we don't need beanbags on fumbles. But what we are saying is when we throw the beanbag, it needs to be
purposeful.
That's right.
Yeah. And if you don't throw a beanbag, does that mean it's not a fumble?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely not. So we will get – Michael asked about seeing them play in full time. I'm not sure why the link that we uploaded messed up on us. So we'll try to share that. And if we don't, just hit us up. We'll try to share it. Well, you should – no, that's not correct. You should be able to see it in the replay. You know what we're not doing enough, Tuta? We're not leveraging the product page to post –
the playlist?
Actual plays.
We'll do that. We will start doing that. In fact, I'll go back and I'll go back to number 1, VS, our first virtual study group. I will upload every single playlist that we've used, and then everyone can use that for their own enjoyment.
You heard it here first. All right, let's see if this one works. So let's go to a play where actually we want to not watch the ball and also watch the ball all at the same time.
Yeah, you just told us we need to watch the ball.
Right. Okay, here we go.
Wait, you said don't watch it. Wait, you do want us to watch it? You don't want us to watch it? What
you don't want to watch it. You do want to watch it. Here's what we mean. Sideline.
You know what, Brandon? I'm sorry. Wait. Can you pause? I'm sorry. I forgot. There was a question I had on the last play. You mentioned.
Let's stop this one and go back to the last one.
You mentioned roughing the passer. I got to raise my hand, man. I got to ask you a question. Because the ball, you just told me it was a fumble. So how can we have roughing the passer if it's a fumble?
You can't, right? Because the passer is it's actually a defined rule, right? In Rule 2, the passer is defined. So I don't know if this is written anywhere, and this is unfortunate that it's not, but we have actually, for several years, the passer in a passing posture in the pocket has, whether he throws the pass or not, has all the protections of a passer who does throw a pass. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you could have a passer standing there with the football in the pocket in a passing posture, never throws the ball, gets hit forcibly low, knee area or below with force. That would be roughing the passer, low hit on the quarterback. You could have a passing posture who never releases the football, standing in in the pocket, gets raked, not targeting, but actually, let me just extend the discussion. Anytime a passer is looking downfield in a passing posture in the pocket, he is a defenseless player. And these are certain
right.
these are certain things. These are certain definitions or aspects of working the quarterback that I'm not sure make their way into our fabulous mechanics manuals. Like perhaps they should.
Right.
So whether it's targeting or whether it's forcible contact to the helmet that would normally rise to the level of roughing the passer after the ball's released, all these actions, whether he throws the ball or not, is still roughing the passer.
Thank you. I just wanted you to clarify that because I heard you say roughing the passer and it was a fumble. So I'm like, well, how can it be roughing the passer?
I think it's a great point and something that we should probably work. I don't know if we should, but somebody should probably work to get a broader definition, or maybe not even broader, more specific definition.
Right.
You grammar police will correct me.
Sorry for the interruption there. Let's move
that
on.
was a fantastic question. We couldn't get through a session without talking process of the catch, Daniel. So let's talk through this one. And
why would you want to?
Right. I know. Exactly. I mean, we started doing this in 2014. We got to continue it here. And I know Corey will have great input on this, working this position so masterfully over the last several years. So here we go. Right. What do we want? We want the field judge in this case to be looking at this right foot of the receiver. We don't want to be looking at the ball yet. Now, we got the foot in bounds. We're going to transition to the control aspect. You guys will talk about that. This is when we want to start to do that, okay? But here, we have to follow this receiver all the way to the ground, even though he's several feet out of bounds. Unfortunately, we see here our officials looking back up to where? The line judge, right? He's looking to the line judge. I want to know what the line judge has. We should still be looking at this receiver here as he turns around. I mean, this is not something you can just do stepping on the football field, I don't think, guys. I mean, you've got to practice this stuff. So we're going to get another angle. Look at this. We do. This is funny to me. We do end up looking here, and it's too late. I say it's funny, not in like a demeaning way. I can have so much empathy for what he's going through because this happened so fast. So he looks over here, and it's just way too late. And we're really striving to know what the line judge called so that we can match our ruling to that. I feel because we've been coached on that so often. But here's the other angle, and then the play will loop, and we'll get more analysis from people who actually know what they're talking about. Looking at the foot, now the receiver gets out of bounds. This is when we want to transition to the football for the control aspect, and here it is. The receiver, he's going to the ground. Slow motion never makes it look like they're going to the ground, but we got to follow all of this action all the way through. And I know we've talked about this, but even where this receiver is now, we just got to continue. We got to almost turn our body to let our eyes go with it. So we're going to loop the video now, and guys, chime in. Maybe Corey, you're back on, help us out. What do you see here? And if this was you, for example, what would you be wanting to take from this?
Well, this is, Deep Wings bread and butter play. That's why we're back there, right? That's why we have that. And so, ideally, I would love to be stationary when this is happening, but sometimes you don't have that luxury. Sometimes you have to make these calls on the fly. But, it goes back to how I start, an hour before the game when I'm on the field and watching these catches and watching as many catches as I possibly can with, starting with the feet and going up to the ball. And so, I'll work 50 catches in pregame just so that my eyes are ready. I'm kind of quirky with my eye routines before the game. And Tutas saw it a couple weeks ago live and in person. But that's what helps me here. And so it'll train your eyes to get to that, get that foot down, but then you got to complete it. And it's no different than it would be in the middle of the field. And I think had this been in the middle of the field, we would hopefully follow the player all the way to the ground. Who's to say one way or the other? But we've got to recognize that player is going to the ground and just, our process. And that's something that's always a work in progress at any level of football, is that we are constantly refining our process and what we're going to do. But yeah, I think that, we can jump the gun and want to make a ruling real quick, and we're looking to our sideline partner. But at the same time, I don't think I would look to my sideline partner for any help on this whatsoever. I mean, I may take a glance, but if I have the visual mechanics that I expect of myself, I would see this foot and then follow the ball away to the ground. And luckily, the ball doesn't pop out here. But, I had a play a few years ago where I think it was an interception where he got the foot in but landed 10 feet out of bounds and the ball comes popping out. And, luckily I was able to get that one. But if you're not steadfast in your process, you're going to miss stuff like this.
Well, and look, you would not only would you maybe not totally be looking to the line judge for confirmation of the ruling, if the line judge comes in incomplete, that old adage that incomplete always wins? That couldn't be further from the truth.
Right.
If you were the field judge on this play, you would tell the line judge, no, I have a catch all the way. Maybe the line judge shows visual mechanics that aren't as great or something like that, and whatever, right? Maybe he sees the second foot that goes out of bounds and mistakes that for the first foot. So incomplete doesn't always win, and you would be able to overrule the line judge because of the process you just explained.
100%, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's a one's incomplete, we're all incomplete, and I don't buy that at all. I think that's the dumbest philosophy we have out there. I mean, you talk about empty processes that we use, and I just think that that's so erroneous. So, if I were this field judge and I knew it was a catch and he comes down from 40 yards away, running with his eyeballs bouncing, looking through feet and tries to tell me it's incomplete, I'd be like, I've got a foot in bounds, completed the process of the catch to the ground. This is a catch. We're going to make this a catch. And, then let replay do their deal.
I think if you work in the line of scrimmage on this play, you really need to defer to the deep official. You really almost would not have any opinion, to be perfectly honest. There's 4 white feet with 4 socks, 4 white legs stepping near the sideline. So really the only thing you have is the feet. You certainly can't see the ball. You have no idea if the ball is getting bobbled, if he caught it clean, if he stuck it. You have no idea. So really the only piece of information you have on this is the foot and whether the foot is in bounds. But look, there's 3 different players right there, and all of them have on white shoes and white socks. So it's very easy to get confused if you're the line judge. Really, the only thing you have is the foot. So you should be getting to the spot and really just looking at the deep official and saying, okay, let's see what he has, because I'm not going to make a ruling on this. And if he just literally doesn't make any ruling, then you can go ahead on and make up whatever ruling you feel is the correct one. But other than that, you really need to be deferring to the deep official.
And just for the theme of this, and Daniel, take over or whatever, but keeping your eye on the ball, there's a certain point where we absolutely need to keep our eye on the ball. We've been talking about not keeping our eye on the ball. There's a certain point, like right here, where the guy is how many yards out of bounds? Several. We have to watch this control aspect all the way through surviving the ground to finish that third element of the process of the catch.
I don't have anything to add at all to that. You guys nailed it.
Wow.
We got deep wing extraordinaire talking mechanics. I can't get better than that. That's awesome.
All right, guys. Anything else on this play? Good point on the line of scrimmage, too, Ty. I think you just want to almost look from that angle right there with the.
Come on, man. Yeah. Which one is it? And who is it? Is it defense? Is it offense? I don't know.
That, and how do you actually, if we're talking the football process of ruling all 3 elements of the catch, how from the line of scrimmage do you rule on that?
You can't.
You can't. And so that's why we're talking about when when do you want to be watching the ball? When do you not want to be watching the ball? And, we certainly can't be watching the ball when that foot hits the ground, which we see too often still. And, I think we've all probably done it in our various positions, but whatever, we're just watching the ball at the wrong time and we're not watching the ball when we should be watching the ball. So that's what this play is all about.
That's a pretty interesting concept that we have today.
Right.
I'm just laughing at it.
I know.
Watching the ball.
I've been told since I was 3 years old to keep my eye on the football. Or,
Keep
not
your eye
the
on the
football,
ball,
but
baby.
keep your eye on the ball.
Right.
Keep your eye on the ball. It's such a golly. The broader concept is what? It's just visual mechanics. What are we looking at? Why are we looking at it? And when are we looking at it? That's what this is all about. It's such a great topic. Umpire is emphatic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, line judge.
Oh, I thought if you saw what the umpire did on this play, yeah.
I think I did.
What did the back judge do on this play?
Oh.
He said,
No, but here's this is tangible. This is real. What if the ball is careening out towards the poor guy, the sergeant in the hat right there? See the guy in the military green? The ball hits him in the head. The back judge could come in and absolutely wipe this out because he knows this is a receiver going to the ground. We'd be okay with that.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, for sure.
Yeah.
Really good point.
I got excited there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like the enthusiasm. Let's get fired up because we listen. That's great officiating. If you have to come in and help us get this right from the middle of the field, I would feel great about that.
Hey, check out the question from Robert. This is a fantastic question. Why do we look at the field judge on this play? And I know we're picking on this poor guy, but look at how he just moves right up the sideline. You know what that is? We're kind of conditioned to stay in our lane or on our lines or something. You know what Robert's asking? What about going in if you have to get an angle on him finishing the process of the catch? Can you move into the sideline past the coaches who are in their rightful position? But do you guys have a problem with moving, beyond the white into the sideline to get a better angle on this if you need to?
Well, I've never seen anybody do that before. That's not really how it's done.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be moving in, within the white. I mean, I would definitely square up that way, but I mean, I think by the time you move and get to the back of the white or beyond, it's probably over at that point. So,
but if you felt like you had to move over there, Corey, to see ball movement, feel restricted by some kind of mythical sideline boundary.
Right. Or if it goes into a group of players or whatever, maybe. Maybe the whole show me the ball type of thing. Maybe you'd want to get over there. That's a good point. I guess I've never been put in that situation like that, but that's definitely a good question. Makes you think.
Yeah.
I would say if you do go out of bounds, though, I would strongly prefer and suggest that you come back in bounds to give you whatever signal you're going to give. I would prefer if you not give a signal from in the bench area.
Well, I would just hop up on that bench over there.
So there you go.
Just get on the wall, Corey.
Yeah, just get on the wall. I mean, hell, how often do we get to do the Lambeau leap as officials?
I think the point I want to make sure, I think it's going to be a really rare situation where you have to go over there to get information. But, the point I was trying to make a little tongue in cheek is that oftentimes, similar to the conversation we had about the upright, the back judge's position on the inline earlier in the session. Listen, we've got a lot of ideas around officiating. Let me say it like this. We just need to feel free to do what we need to do to be in a position to officiate the play. And if that's maybe a little bit differently than we've seen it worked or than what is popular out there, man, that's okay. Let's do what we need to do to see what we need to see and be comfortable in that position and be willing to, kind of own that, I think is what I would say.
Yep.
Totally agree. All right. So anything else about keep your eye on the ball or not on the ball or whatever? We got one more play that we're going to kind of transition away from the concept, but
no, not totally transition.
You're gonna set it up for us.
Well, we still got to keep our eye on the ball. I think maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
Okay, sorry.
So you're going to run the poll, right? So
Yeah.
I'll start playing it. We're going to see the play, and then the second loop is going to kind of break down the various aspects, and then it's just going to loop. So just feel free to start the poll whenever you want.
All right.
I'll just kind of talk through it. This is an awesome play. It's there's a lot going on, so we've got contact to the kicker. We've got holding. We've got KCI. We've got the kicking team recovering the football. We've got all this stuff. So now we're going to break it down. Watch the player that shadowed first is going to come in and hit the kicker, and it's not because he gets blocked into. And then we've got holding on the receiving team. And then all this is happening so fast. We've got KCI by that player shadowed. The ball is not even close to the returner yet. There's massive contact, and then the kicking team player recovers the ball. Okay, so we're going to have a big loop of this, and hopefully this plays. And if you want to start the poll, or maybe you already have.
I have started.
Go ahead.
So the question we're asking, we have two poll questions on this play. The first question we're asking is, what team is in legal possession of the ball at the end of the down? Is it team A, who is the kicking team, or is it team B, who is the receiving team? That's the question that we're asking.
Which team is in legal possession? Well, wait, there's a third option, isn't there? Team B, and then it might be Team A.
It might be Team A.
Might be Team A. Okay, I don't.
It could possibly be Team A. It could possibly be Team B, or I don't know. That's what the poll writer came up with. I don't know what the poll writer was doing.
Okay, all right. I feel like a referee. I don't know who's in. How would I have no idea. We might talk about that.
We appreciate this whole KCI so well. Quit asking me awkward questions.
I know, and you love how you work this KCI play, right? You nailed it. You got it. You threw the flag into the poor guy's face, man. Now we're getting sued for what? I don't know what it is.
Do your job and announce my KCI, okay?
Yeah, that's all. That's all. The poll results are bouncing.
They are, because I think I've stunned people. All right, I'm gonna end the poll. Something else just happened. People are really thinking about.
I think there's a lot going on here. This is awesome, but this is this play. This is a microcosm of this play. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna end the poll. Oh, damn! Another vote just came in. All right, end of the poll. 44% of us said Team A is in legal possession of the ball. 50% said Team B. It can't possibly be Team A because there was kick-catch interference on the play. And then 5% said it might be Team A. Okay. So Team B is the receiving team, right? And Team A is the kicking team.
Yes.
So we're saying Team B is in legal possession. It can't possibly be Team A because there was kick-catch interference. And then it's saying it might be Team A. So the question I would have is, if the ball hit the receiving team player on the foot, and then the kicking team player has the ball, who would be in legal possession of the ball at the end of the play? If the ball did not hit the receiving team player on the foot, and then the kicking team picked the ball up, then obviously we know we just have illegal touching, right? So if the ball did not hit the receiving team, there's no way that Team A could possibly be in possession, legal possession of the ball at the end of the down.
Okay, now that we've muddied that up, let's go to the second poll.
Well,
no, I think we should, and then we can go all the way around.
Circle back. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Let's start the second poll.
What does that one say?
So here's the poll. Here's the second poll question. What team has the option for penalty enforcement on this play? Is it Team A? Is it Team B? Is it both teams? Or is it neither team? And we'll just offset the files and replay the down.
What happened to it depends?
Yeah, I don't think the poll writer liked it depends on this.
Don't you feel like in real time sometimes it's like, well, it depends.
That's pretty much what I go with my wife, I think.
Yeah,
it depends.
You stay flexible.
Yeah, you just don't box yourself in, man. And your kids, same thing.
All right, poll results are coming in. Poll results are coming in.
So Team A is not getting a whole lot of love here.
No, it doesn't look like people think we should ask Team A what
that's
what
good.
the choice is.
I think we're good there.
I think so too.
And then
I'm getting ready to end the poll. Oh, whoa, we just had a big jump.
we just had a big jump. This might take a half hour. So just so everybody knows, this play is much more involved than maybe it appears, or maybe it appears that it's more. I don't know.
Well, no, it appeared on. Well, I was the referee in this game, and it appeared on the field to be extremely simple. And this is why, I hate to keep harping on the same thing. This is why you need to really have a buddy to talk to about plays. Because I showed Brandon this play, and really I was just showing him about, man, how could I miss the doggone the block at the kid into the shield, and he got shoved into the kicker because I was about to pull my flag, but then the center judge pulled me off of it, and I was really showing him about that. And then I was like, oh, well, and then we had this interesting action downfield and blah, blah, blah. And I was ready to move on. Then Brandon said, well, how did you enforce it? And I was like, why is he asking me that? Of course. Well, all right, let me end the poll before I give the answer away. Okay, 45%. Team B has the option. 15% say both teams have the option. I'll give everyone a hint. There's never going to be a time when both teams have the option on a penalty enforcement. And then 40% said neither team. Offset the fouls, replay the down. Okay, let's go to rule references.
Yeah, we kept talking about keep your eye on the ball, this crap earlier.
Yeah.
Let's get into the actual rule book. How about maybe?
Well, yeah, before that, let's talk about this. Because a lot of times we go crazy. Let's say we just throw this flag for KCI. Oh, well, it doesn't matter what happens with the ball, right? Because I got KCI.
I got KCI. It's
whoa, well, wait a minute. What happened with the ball? Who ended up with the ball? What team has the ball at the end of the down? We really, really, really have to know that. And if we don't know that, then we don't necessarily know how to enforce the penalty.
And so from a mechanics perspective, we have a tendency when we have KCI to run up to the spot. And that's really dangerous because most of the time the play won't be dead at the spot where the KCI happens. It'll be close to it, but this extra bounce here just enables a lot more action. Bodies flying is how I would put it. So we got to fight that temptation to run up to that spot, because if that punt keeps bounding behind us, now we're in a really awkward position. So great point about just continuing to officiate after that KCI. Stay wide. Try not to assault anybody with the flag, but just stay wide.
Yeah.
Drop your flag at the spot. Also, we've been talking about where we're watching. Man, I think it's awesome that the center judge is able to pull you off this running into the kicker in mid-play, but I just wonder if that's the best place for his eyes to be as Team A is running down seemingly to make a tackle on a kick returner.
Well, I'm going to say it like this, Daniel. The center judge and the referee are working action on the shield and the punter. Now, depending on who your relationship with your center judge and I guess the umpire and the crew of 7, you all are going to determine how you're going to split that up or how you're going to tend to work. I don't want to.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. Can I interrupt you? I don't mean him taking you off of it. I don't think anything wrong with that at all. I'm more thinking about him communicating to you that we have a blocking into while the ball is still live.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I love that he did it.
So here's what I would say is that I've had a referee call, who knows, a blindside block down here by the 35, 40-yard line. And I think there's the potential, and it could be anything, right? And I think there's the potential for the center judge to do that as well. Sometimes we don't get as much help from the line of scrimmage officials on punt plays downfield as we need. I don't know. To me, that's a little dangerous. But
I see what you're saying. You want him to continue doing what he's working the play, and then we'll come back and compare notes later if we need to.
Sure.
Okay, I can see that.
That's my thought.
Good. That's good. Let's go. Yeah, let's start. Let's dive into how we need to process this play.
Okay. Offsetting fouls. We had 2 live ball fouls. We had a foul by the receiving team. We had an OH, offensive holding during the kick, offensive holding by the receiving team. And then we had kick catch interference by the kicking team. So we had 2 live ball fouls, right? So pretty simple. We'll just offset and replay it down. That's what 40%, how many percent of our people said? Yeah, 40% of our people, including me as the referee. I was like, oh, this is easy. We'll just offset and replay it down. But here's the problem. We forget about this. When all Team B fouls that occur before possession changes are governed by PSK rules, Team B may refuse offsetting fouls and accept post-scrimmage kick enforcement. What that tells me is that Team B has an option on this play to decline Team A's, the penalty for Team A's foul, and enforce the penalty for their own foul and accept the results of the play if right, Brandon? If their foul is governed by post-scrimmage kick rules.
Right. Big if.
Yes, that's a big if. And that's why we asked the first question, because how do we know if a foul is governed by post-scrimmage kick rules?
PSK, by the way, is the abbreviation for post-scrimmage kick. And post-scrimmage appears to be one word in our rule book, but PSK, for some reason, is an acronym.
How do you clear all this crap off? Okay.
There you go.
Here's right. That is funny, Brandon.
Yeah, right.
It should be PK, right?
It should be PKE, I guess. Go ahead.
Right. So post-scrimmage kick enforcement applies only, we're looking at B here, applies only to fouls by Team B during a post-scrimmage kick and only under the following conditions. If we go all the way to number 4, Team B will next put the ball in play.
So you're saying 1 through 3 we're satisfied?
Sure. The kick was not during a try. It wasn't a field goal, and it's not extra periods. We got that.
Yep.
The ball crossed the neutral zone clearly.
We highlighted.
And the foul occurred before the end of the kick clearly because it was a holding. Yeah. It was, Yes. So the only question we have is Team B next going to put the ball in play, right?
Yeah, but the back judge was that's a great call for KCI, Daniel. It wasn't you on the screen, but you as a back judge, you love those KCI calls.
Yeah, man. Don't take away my KCI, baby.
Right. So, that's the point. That is what we're diving into. How do we communicate?
I don't know who's got the ball. I've got KCI.
Right. Thank you. And I think you're being a character now, and I love it. But that's actually true because, like Corey, so you work in this play. I don't know what side of the field you're on, whatever. Here we are highlighting the plays all again. But, somebody's got to help us with the result of the play on this play because otherwise we're just going to do an automatic offset and really, we don't work this play very well if we just do an automatic offset.
No, you're right. We always have talked about those people on the outlying fringe of the play have got to help with this. And so it could be the deep wings, it could be the short wings, really. But as a deep wing on this play, we've got to see that, hey, the kicking team has the ball that, it was untouched. I don't know, was it touched by B? We got to know that as at least have an idea one way or the other. Sometimes we don't have a clue, and we've got to be honest with that. Hey, I don't know if the ball hit the B, the receiving team player, but the kicking team player has possession of the ball over here. And so whether
we got to make a ruling.
Got to make a ruling. And as soon as we see the kicking team with the ball, we got to shut it down, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the complicating factor that you're going to speak to, I think, too. you're grinding on it, running into the kicker, blocked into by the shield player. You're grinding on all this, and then all of a sudden you've got a flag from a side judge on the as we're looking at the screen here. The side judge throws that's a great call, by the way, for offensive holding by the receiving team. Fantastic call. We love that call, and a very appropriately called. And then a very easy but very good call for KCI. You're grinding from a referee perspective on, is this running into the kicker or not? Center judge is helping out. You guys are collaborating on not appropriately not making that call because he was blocked into, and now you've got all this information coming at you.
Right. And the tendency, and I've sat here and we've harped on it so many times, finish the play. How many times have people heard me say finish the play? Well, yeah. I run my butt down there. Everybody has their information. Okay, what do you have? Okay, what do you have? Guess what question I never asked? What was the result of the play? I never, ever asked that question. I never asked what happened on the play. And I had no idea. Obviously, I don't have any idea. I'm not down there. I don't know what's going on. But I never asked that question. I'm laughing
at the chat, and I love this, and I think we need to invite our members into our pre-games because this is the kind of stuff that we exactly want to do. Because they're asking, you didn't give us enough information. Was the ball touched by Team B or not? That's the point.
Exactly.
That's the point. We don't know. Nobody made a ruling, you guys.
Right.
That is the point.
That's right.
That is the point. And I don't, should I say that's the point again?
That literally is the point.
Nobody made a ruling on this play of it was the kicking team. It is the ruling on the field that, the receiving team was first to touch the kick and then it was recovered by the kicking team, or was this just illegal touching? And as we just pointed out with these rule references, that impacts the whole penalty enforcement.
That's correct. So if the ball did, in fact, not touch the receiving team, and we just simply have an illegal touching, then Team B will be next to put the ball in play, which means the holding would be a post-scrimmage kick foul.
And now what do we have if indeed that is the case, which we still don't know because there's no indisputable video evidence one way or the other. But if that's the ruling, which would easily be supported now. So what are we going to do now, just process-wise?
Now we can go and ask the Team B head coach, Coach, we have holding on your team. We have kick-catch interference on their team. You can decline the kick-catch interference and enforce your holding. So you'll have you'll have the ball at the 26, or we can replay the down.
Exactly. Here's the thing, guys. I mean, I don't know. We've all been on crews together, and you know how much I despise going around the room and doing. Man, I just about swore. I about brought out my inner tutor. You know how much I despise doing rules quizzes in a pregame, because this isn't that hard of a play.
It's not
on paper.
On paper, it's easy.
It's easy because it's the thing that everybody's been asking in the chat. You guys. Challenge yourselves on this. Don't just do these on paper. You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to grow. I'm telling you from lots and lots of pre-games that I just kind of left so empty. And I know I'm kind of opening a vein here, Tuta, but it's like we need to be a little bit more we need to go more in depth on this stuff. Mm-hmm. And we need to actually get into how we're going to process these plays. Mm-hmm. And if we just say, fourth and whatever from the 25, and we got holding called by the side judge, and it's during the kick, and then we've got KCI, and the kicking team recovers the ball without the receiving team touching it. Well, that's easy. Easy. Clean hands by Team B. Give the coach the option. They can either keep the ball with their 10-yard penalty enforced or replay the down. It's fourth down at the previous spot. Easy.
Right.
But then this play happens.
Right.
And we've got we add the variable of the center judge and grinding over potential running into the kicker, which they appropriately did not call.
Right.
And now how are you going to report these fouls? And that is really where this all kind of, comes to a head. And not only that, who's going to give us the result of the play? By the way, you want to make a mark in officiating, come in here on this play in this game and be like, look, here's the result of the play.
Yes.
I'm not sure if this is correct, but I never saw the receiving team touch the ball. The kicking team player recovered the football right where the KCI foul was. I've got this as illegal touching right where the kicking team player recovered the ball. Therefore, you've got 2 fouls. Therefore, receiving team has the option. Go ahead, referee, make your fancy announcement now. You see what I'm saying? And I know I'm being kind of callous. Like, I know I'm being I'm trying to do this on purpose because I want officials. I want to work with officials that just have the you-know-what to come in and just own this. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we don't have those. We they're missing, guys. They're missing. And this is just all of us talking on a virtual study group.
And that's frustrating to me because I think everybody, when they're reporting a foul, should tell you what the result of the play is before they even give you the foul. I mean, I think that's a habit that everybody should get into. You know, especially, I mean, I'll speak just from a deep wing perspective or even a deep perspective because the referee oftentimes shouldn't know what the result of the play is if we're calling something deep. So, you know, part of my routine is the result of the play is whatever. Oh, by the way, I also have this. And so I think, I mean, we can all help on this, especially if you're throwing a flag or you're dropping your marker, as it were. I think we can all help our referees get out of that muck.
Yeah, thanks for cutting me off.
Here's the thing, Corey.
No, I'm serious. I think I was going to go even farther. But go ahead.
Here's the thing, Corey. The referee wasn't even in a muck. I'm serious. I worked this play, and we worked this play, and we just handled it like easy, like it was nothing. Oh, no problem. We'll just offset and replay it down. Boom, let's go. I never realized this was a problem until Brandon and I are looking at this play, and he asked me that question that I thought was the stupidest question in my life. He said, well, how did y'all enforce this? I'm like, what are you talking about? Obviously, we just offset it. And then as soon as I started answering the question, I'm like, oh, my God, we screwed this play up. You know, and this is why it's so important to share your plays with a buddy. A lot of times we're too close to plays to realize when we have mistakes. Like, I never would have realized we made a mistake in this play. Obviously, our grader, nothing in the grades about penalty enforcements, result of the play, none of that kind of stuff. So that's not coming up from your grades. So if you're looking for it to come from your evaluating your grades, you're wasting your time. You have to get a buddy who really thinks, you know, in depth and really cares about figuring out processes to figure things like this out, to understand how to get better like this.
We do not attach our performance to our graders.
Right.
We love our graders. We love our graders, Daniel. We love them to death. But we don't attach our performance. Every time they downgrade us, that's wrong. They missed one that they should have downgraded us. Every time they tell us that we processed some play maybe wrong and we really didn't because they're maybe not up on the contemporary aspects of officiating, they miss something like this, Daniel. So, I mean, come on, this is killing me. This is killing me. Somebody's got to step up on this play and help my guy at the referee position so that he knows to basically.
Well. Hold on, Brandon. Hold on.
No.
Hold on. As a referee, I have to absolutely go down there, and almost every play, I have to know what the result of the play is. So if I don't ask that question, then shame on me.
Sure.
Shame on me. I mean, yeah, everybody else needs to step up and bring information. But if nobody brings information, I'm just as culpable on a play like this for not asking. Wait, what happened? What was the result of the play?
You're right. That's a really good, you know, self-evaluation. I just want, you know, from a growth mindset perspective, Daniel, we're all going to look at this. Most of us are going to look at this and say, yeah, we nailed this. You know, look at my great KCI call. That holding is big.
Correct. Correct call.
Correctly. That's a correct no call for running into the kicker. He got blocked into.
Yep.
Daniel, we got 3 7s on this play. We're good, right?
Yeah, I mean, what's the big deal anyway? Team B's probably just going to
offset it anyway.
They're going to want another chance. Who cares? Wrong. And it goes back to the same principle. I love when we do this that we started with. Just building really, really good habits. And Corey mentioned about how he's always trying to insert the the result of the play in his foul reporting. man, if we just get in the habit of doing that all the time, then maybe we have the opportunity to get this correct on the field, because Brandon's made the point, right? There's some really quality officiating throughout this play. And if we stop there, you just limit yourself. You just limit yourself from being as good as you could be, Limit your potential. What is worse than that? Like stopping short of being as good as you could be makes me sick to my stomach. Let's just talk real quick mechanically. I think it was mentioned earlier in the chat, certainly not ideal flag placement. I think, we're caught up here. We get tangled up a little bit trying to get it out. And, that's a weird kind of vulnerable feeling because we're looking at our belt. And we probably just get in a hurry here, but certainly not where we want to throw our flag.
Hey, Daniel, we can think about it like this, because, you and I work together, and you used to frustrate the hell out of me, because I always would tell you, why are you throwing your flag in Africa? Because your flag would never be anywhere near where anything was. So I would never know what you were doing. On a play like this, we only have 5 positions, right?
That's correct.
This action is way outside the numbers, so it's way outside of position 5. So if you put your flag on position 5, isn't that just as good as putting your flag all the way out there by the numbers?
Yeah, without question. I mean, I don't know that I'm good enough to think that that's really sharp, but I mean, intuitively we'll know once we go there we're outside the hash. But yeah, getting it at the hash is really good, because now you're on position 5. But really, all we needed is on the yard line, and that yard line is the same from sideline laterally across the field.
That's correct.
And I didn't want you to know what I was calling, because I didn't want you coming trying to tell me.
I know you were trying to hide.
Disguising.
Hide it from you.
But it's kind of like the tip signal earlier in the session. It's like, okay, we got the ball's tipped. Yes, it's tipped. Like we got KCI, and I got my flag down here, and I'm trying to get it to the yard line. Oh yeah, okay. I think it occurred. Yeah, it occurred. Maybe was it at the numbers? Maybe it was outside the. Who cares?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
The ball's going to be at the hash.
We're never going to spot the ball out there by the numbers.
That's right.
So we're never going to enforce a penalty and put the ball out there by the number. Never going to happen.
So let's. And we all have done this, right? We've all
absolutely
seen our flag right into the face mask of some poor bystander who is playing the football game. You guys want me to go? You guys want me to keep talking about this play, or I feel like I was.
Yeah,
I mean, did you guys tell Corey to cut me off? I was gonna get on a roll. I'm just kidding.
Corey's just got.
I felt a momentary pause, so I had to.
You did. You took advantage of it. I'm glad your audio was working.
You're right.
No, that was good. This is a great play. Use this play. Please use this play. Every time you get with a crew, use this play. 3 awesome judgments and 1 awful penalty enforcement. Right?
That's correct. That's correct.
I mean, that's just.
We didn't finish the play. Plain and simple. We just literally didn't finish the play.
Yeah. Yeah. So who, and then the question in pregame would be, who could come in and just solidify the result of the play?
Yes.
Because I think what happens here, if I'm just kind of thinking about how this goes after doing this a lot, is we all just kind of assumed that, okay, the kicking team has, offset, but the KCI, I'm back judge, I'm going to quit. Side judge, I'm going to throw this great holding call. I'm going to kind of quit. And then field judge, well, I see a lot of flags. I'm just going to let those guys take care of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of what we think. And that's not how we want to work football.
Yep.
Huh.
I like it.
Well, I had the most fun in this session of any of them. But I say that every week, so that doesn't mean much.
That was really cool.
All right, guys. Thanks, Corey. Good work, man. You got that audio situation figured out. You sound great, by the way, whenever you chime in.
Oh, thank you. I don't know what I did either.
No, I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Great stuff. Tuta, thanks, man.
Yes, sir. Anytime. I love doing this kind of stuff. Listening to, y'all talk, and I'm learning stuff I know it sounds cliche, but I really do get some stuff out of it. Shoot, in fact, let's put it like this. You know how people always say that kind of crap. Oh, I learned so much at this session. Well, what did you learn? Then they have nothing to say. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm serious. I did learn something today. When you said about we need to know as a referee, pass or fumble. And once we make that determination, we don't need to worry about the ball. We've already made our decision. Start working other action. Start working the rest of the action that really matters. Yep. So I really learned that today. I think that was a really good point that I took away from today's session.
It's awesome.
We can keep talking about emphasizing the process over the result, or we can actually show plays that do that. And I feel like that's what we tried to do tonight, because it is getting to be cliche, this process over the result. I heard Russell Wilson, quarterback for who? Help me out.
Seahawks.
Thank you. He was being interviewed at some point. Must have been last night. Oh yeah, when our play was on. Okay, it's yeah. When our play was on the pregame deal, he was all talking about process over result, which was cool. I was like, wow, that's awesome. Great to hear that. And you hear other players talking about that, but if we don't actually start to put examples to that, then it just does really turn into a watered down cliche. Yes. So I feel like, and I don't even know if we accomplished it, Daniel, but that's what we try to do.
Well, if you remember last week, I challenged everyone, and hopefully people took me up on the challenge. And I'll challenge you again. Before you look at your grades from your evaluator, find your plays, look at them, evaluate them for yourself, even write a whole analysis of the play, and then find a buddy and let that buddy do the same thing. Do that before you look at your grade, because then you'll really be focusing on the process of improving and the process of determining, did I officiate this play correctly, other than worrying about the result of did I get a correct call or not.
It's good advice.
All right. We're going to do this again next week, Tuesday.
All right.
This is our 5 Tuesday month. Corey, were you going to add anything about that, or is that coming later?
I think that's coming later.
It's coming later.
Yep.
Okay, be on the lookout. We're going to do something special. 5 Tuesdays. That's big. That's big.
Big deal.
Big deal. Welcome to December 2020. I hope this month goes fast. I think it will. It's been a crazy year. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for everything. Thanks to the community out there. The chat was on fire tonight. I love it. All right, guys. See you next week.
Adios.
Good night, everybody.